Hey, man, and welcome to the June of You. Hey, Pastor Bob, how you doing, brother?
Are you having a good day?
I'm having a wonderful day, man. Listen, man, this is
All right.
our first video here, and we're talking about Israel and how radical Israel is.
Let's tell them who you are first.
I'm Yossi, and I'm a Messianic believer. I believe in the Messiah. I am a Messianic, and I love the Lord, and I love Israel.
You grew up in Israel, and you speak Hebrew, and you know the land, and you went to not rabbinical school. You went to an Orthodox yeshiva.
I did for a while. Yeah, it was
So that's your background.
I didn't graduate from the yeshiva.
Okay, no, I'm not saying that. I know you came to the Lord before you completed all that. I'm a pastor. I live in California. I love Israel, and met Yossi 7-8 years ago now.
Yeah.
And we've become friends, and we love just talking about Israel, about the land. I've been to Israel, 50 some times. I'm going to be going again in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Just because it's my spiritual home, and I like being there. So we wanted to share with other people some of the things that we talk about all the time.
Right.
The people, the land, and how beautiful it is, going with tour groups, places to discover that tour groups don't go.
Absolutely.
I found a lot of things that like Christian tour groups go to certain places, but I also know that Jewish tour groups go to other places that a lot of Christian groups might not know about or might not be interested in. But I'm finding out that more and more Christians are interested in the same things Jews are. And we want to share some of those things. Yossi is an excellent culinary chef.
I am.
Chef. And so we want to talk about some of that too, the good food that you can get in Israel, and you can also get it at Yossi's house.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, I think the radical part about the Israeli culture and the food is in Hebrew, mishpacha, the family. And so we love to eat together because of, a Messianic or a Jewish home, it doesn't matter. We come together because family is really, really, really strong. It's a strong thing in the culture. And Israel is such a radical place to bring that culture together that we see many families coming together during Shabbat, And so often in Israel, when you come to Israel, it's Israel, you come on a Friday. If you come on a Friday, we're going to be closing fast. So everything closes on the stores, everyone's hurrying up to get the vegetables before Shabbat comes, and the Shabbat brings the family. It's radical. And so, and the food. And so, Bob.
And I've always understood that, growing up and learning more about Judaism and Israel, that food is fellowship. And I have read things from rabbis that say, hey, if I offer you food and you partake and I partake, we're becoming a part of each other.
Right.
And that's really close fellowship.
That's why it's important to understand that if you see certain people in Israel, it's not that they're being rude. Some people will not eat with others because they don't like them because it's
culture, and I don't want to be a part of you and what you're doing. But I have noticed too that the majority of people in Israel are just really super friendly.
Yeah.
I was backpacking one time, and it got to be late at night, and I was up in northern Israel. Do you know where the ski run is up there now?
Yeah, that's where I grew up, in that area, in the northern
region. They were just building that ski thing on Mount Hermon, and the contractor was there, and he said, well, we were backpacking, and he goes, so what are you doing? I said, well, just backpacking. He says, where are you sleeping? He goes, well, come stay at my house. And he goes, I want to take you to a special dinner. And he took us to a restaurant with 30 different kinds of salad. I didn't know there was that many salads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another time I'm hiking around Sea of Galilee. A farmer takes us in. Biggest grapes I've ever eaten in my life. And everybody's that way. They're very friendly, very open, and very hospitable.
Right. And the fish is there. We have the fish. We have types of fish. We have a lot of fish. Speaking of the salads are what, I'm very good at making salads also.
Yes.
And so I really believe. So let me ask you this. You've been to Israel how many times?
over 50. I think it's 56. I'd have to look.
And so that makes you an Israeli, man. An honorary Israeli.
Okay, or an ornery Israeli, something
Right.
like that.
Yeah. The radical part is when you come to Israel, you have the Dead Sea, you have beautiful spots. You know, we have radical restaurants that are amazing that
yes.
You know, for believers out there that are wanting to come to Israel, you know, also, you know, you can click the link down below and ask, you know, hit up. Bob knows all the places as I do. In fact, often when he's there, you can't stop him, man. He's just everywhere because he knows where to go. And so,
and I will oftentimes, when I'm going over with a tour group, I will go a week ahead of time or stay a week or so later so that I can discover new things. There's a lot of things. I mean, even though I've been going all these years and that many times, there's always something new in Israel.
Hey, Bob, let's talk about that channel that you have also that's linked below on this. Which Jew with a View.
Okay.
This is listen to this. Listeners out there, Pastor Bob has a cool Bible on Location. And
it's just getting started.
Right.
There's not that many videos on there, but the goal is to go to the location in Israel and video it so that people can see what's actually there.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a wonderful proverb. It's more of a modern proverb, but somebody said, to see something one time is worth more than hearing about it 1,000 times.
Wow, amazing.
And I agree. Israel makes a difference in your life.
Ken. Listen, let me ask you a question. Slicha, in Hebrew, excuse me. I would like you to tell the listeners about Mount Masada and how important it is to the Jewish state of Israel.
Okay. Masada.
Give us a time where you went up there one time. Give us an example for.
Well, I'll tell you, the first time I went up, I had heard there's a beautiful sunrise there. And so I camped out in the valley below the mountain.
Right.
And then early in the morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, I hiked up. We were following a group of Army guys who were being inducted at that time. They were going up to take their oath.
Yeah, I've climbed that, by the way, too. So
yeah, well, we climbed it in the dark in the middle of the night, got up there.
Oh my Lord.
Here's the funny part. I'm waiting for this beautiful sunrise, and there was a dust storm that morning. So
those are nasty.
I couldn't see a thing. But I've been up there 20, 30 other times, and it's a gorgeous view of the Dead Sea.
Right.
And the Judean wilderness. There's caves around there. It's near Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered.
Right.
And En Gedi, which is an oasis in the middle of the Judean wilderness.
That's where we drink our water.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Right.
It's beautiful. And it's a symbol to Israel that Masada will never fall again.
Right.
People are that intensive about returning to the land and standing for the land. It's I know from speaking to a lot of Israelis, it's not necessarily an easy life. I mean, a lot of times as Christians, we think, oh, I could be in Israel and everything would be wonderful. It's hard. It's difficult, but I believe it's truly worth it.
It is. And I think what's really important is people that are listening right now that's never been to Israel. You guys understand that these monuments, these things that are there are for reasons, biblical reasons also.
Yeah.
For example, you see the Sea of Galilee. And Bob, you could tell believers out there.
Well, I always said, when you read your Bible and you read Sea of Galilee, your mind will put a picture to it. And I remember growing up, the picture that was in my mind was somewhere across between Lake Paris and Corona del Mar, you know, and when I got to Israel.
And where was Jesus?
Yeah, well, I don't know. He wasn't there. But when I got to Israel, what I saw was the Sea of Galilee. Now, every time I open the Word of God and I read Sea of Galilee, that's the picture that comes to mind.
Right.
It's embedded in my mind. I want to say something else too. Just kind of on the thing of Masada, that's where all the Christian tour groups go.
Right.
But I also found where the Jewish tour groups go.
Yeah, we
They
don't
go to a
go
place-
there.
They go to Gamla.
Right.
And most Christian groups never go to Gamla, but a similar thing happened there.
Tell people.
Well, actually, a guy named Flavius Josephus was the commander, and the Romans attacked that city because Vespasian was doing a burnt, just wiping out
Right.
everything to make the Jews submit. And he
Right.
came, I think it was in 68, 69,
Yeah.
60, maybe 67 AD.
It's in the book of Josephus also.
It
so,
is,
yeah.
but he wanted to destroy that. It was burnt earth,
Right.
And so an amazing place where an amazing battle happened too. That again is the Jewish people fighting for their freedom,
Right.
standing for their freedom. But that's another sight to see, another place to see.
Listen, A Jew with a View is radical because we're going to talk about everything on this channel. We're going to talk about the 6-day war. We're going to talk about the wars of Eretz Israel. We're going to talk about Gaza. We're going to talk about the freedom that needs to be. I mean, we're going to see Gaza. And for listeners that don't know what Gaza is, it means Gaza. Gaza was, it's part of, Eretz Israel. We gave Gaza in 2005 to the Arabs, soon after that, we had a problem with missiles being fired by, Hamas. And so I was there in 2005. I'm sorry?
That's still happening today.
Sure is. And I was there in 2005 during the pullout, and it was very unfavorable for us Jews. And so I would say that a lot of people that are watching this will say, hey, is it dangerous in Israel? And the only dangerous thing that I see right now, and this is what I want to, is the curriculum that they're teaching some of the Arab children.
Yes.
That
Israel never existed, that Israel doesn't belong there.
Right. And then in the Knesset, I heard the Jerusalem mayor, one of the mayors, say that they're trying to raise a law that we could take that curriculum away. And that's important. So, but Bob, please tell the listeners how peaceful it is where
Every time I go with a tour group, somebody will always ask me, is it safe? And actually, the first time I went, my own father said, are you crazy? Don't you know that's a war zone?
Right. Don't get on the plane. It's going to blow up.
After being there, what I always tell people is that honestly, there is a very dangerous portion of the trip.
Right.
But once we get out of LA, everything's fine.
Right.
Everything's wonderful. I have never felt safer. And I've gotten to travel to a lot of places in the world. I have never felt safer anywhere than I have in Israel.
Right.
They are conscious, they are prepared, they know what's going on, and they are very protective of tourists.
We have Yerushalayim very locked down. So unless we don't know anything, we usually know, we have intel, it's pretty safe.
Now, I would say one of the guys shared with me one time, everybody's in communication. And if somebody throws an orange at a bus
we know.
In northern Israel, in Nazareth, let's say, the entire country knows within 10 minutes.
Stop saying orange. I'm looking for my phone.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you don't even know what's going on. You don't know that some kid threw a fruit at a bus,
right.
But they change everything in the country. The tour guides will take you somewhere else because there's lots of things to see, right. And you will never end up in one of those areas where there's a problem. Yeah,
you're right. Actually, you're right. And so, and with saying that, we see Haifa. Haifa's an actual beautiful city, and we have the coast there, Tel Aviv, and
one of the beautiful sites to visit there is Rosh Hashanah. It's a cable car that takes you down to sea caves carved into the sandstone there by years and years of the ocean.
Are you guys listening to this, man? It's just beautiful.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful.
And so,
that same place is where the Orient Express used to run when that land was called the Ottoman Empire.
Ottoman Empire, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And what about the Bible? Who was whipping who on that hill? To what gods?
Oh, yeah. At Rosh Hashanah?
No, on the other side. Remember when
in Lebanon, you mean? Okay. Well, you say Lebanon, the first thing I think of is the cedars of Lebanon.
That's what I'm talking
where
about.
Solomon sent workers
Right.
and made a trade with King Hiram. He had favor with him, and
that's what
David,
we're talking.
Solomon's father, had David with Hiram, and that's where they made these big giant rafts of the cedars of Lebanon and floated them down to Israel, to the port of Joppa, and they were drug up the hill to build the temple of God and the house of Solomon.
Well, now they're building gasoline pipelines. Us.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's amazing. Listen, Israel is not only a startup country, but it's a startup of medical also and technology breakthroughs. I don't know if you guys know this, but we invented the cell phone.
Yes.
And so also we've created a very, very vast, sophisticated technological system in a startup, like a fast startup movement.
Well, you have more startup companies in Israel per capita than any other nation in the world.
That's right.
And it's the majority of it is in the city of Herzliya, named after Herzl, of course, Theodore Herzl. But if you drive through Herzliya, you'll see Apple, you'll see Microsoft, you'll see Sun Electronics, you'll see Dell,
Target.
Oh yeah, Target, McDonald's, everything else is there too. But some amazing things, like Yossi said, if you use a cell phone, Jews invented it. If you use the Waze maps, Jews invented that. They invented this thing that I believe that they invented this little capsule that you swallow. It's a camera, and they can follow your entire insides and film all of you. It's medical advances that are
and then you have these guys that think weird stuff like they're going in there to follow you, man. They're gonna make you take the mark of the beast.
It comes out in the end. but
man,
if you need to be checked out medically, they don't have to cut you open to look. They just swallow the little camera and it'll come out and they'll see everything.
Everything comes out in the end, man.
Yeah.
Listen, next week we're going to talk about the red heifer. We're going to get detailed into that. I know Pastor Ed Ray and Pastor Tom Hughes and Jack Hibbs. All these other pastors are talking about it, and it's amazing. Bob, give a preview. Give a preview of what's coming next week with this. We're going to Israel this week. Oh no, next week.
Next week.
Week
after our next show here. But the red heifer, if you read the book of Leviticus, you find out the red heifer was used in the ashes. It's a very important part of sacrifice.
Right.
So a lot of people, a lot of Jews over the years have been waiting for the rebuilding of the temple. Mm-hmm. Temple Mount Institute has rebuilt all of the furniture except for the Ark of the Covenant. They're already training priests. They have handmade robes and all this, but they've been looking for the red heifer, and there's a lot of requirements for this animal. And a guy, and what I heard was a Christian who wants to see the fulfillment of Bible prophecy, raise these animals and ship them to Israel. They're being inspected right now because they're a very important part of the sacrificial process.
That is so amazing, because as a Jew, that's what we aim for the Mashiach, part of the Mashiach to come back.
Yeah.
This is very important to us, and the rebuilding of the third temple.
Yeah.
And where it lies, that's another story.
That would take a long time.
Right.
But we really want to look into the red heifer next time we get together.
Yeah. So man, that concludes this program. Listen, this is an intro, you guys, of what's going to come, man. We're going to be talking about everything. We're going to have guests, speakers on here. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, from family to Israel to where to go there, where to eat, where to stay, where to gather, where to fellowship, and also where to, trade your dollars in to get the best rate.
We look forward to you joining us and going on an adventure with us. In the next couple of weeks, we'll be filming our meetings in Israel firsthand.
Pastor Tom will be there, right?
Send your questions in, what you want to hear about, what you want to learn about, or what you've heard that may not even be true because it's something that somebody's just said for years. And we want to talk about all those things. This is
bring your questions.
Yeah.
Bring the question to the Jew, and we'll give you the view.
Yeah. Praise the God.
And God bless you.
God bless you.